Time's up for the preening hacks who pretend to be journalists on television and in the press. Time's up for the mainstream news media, which has decayed to become nothing more than the communications wing of the Democrat Party. The real winner of the fake news awards is, you guessed it, it's us, baby. We will analyze the surprising subtlety of this blunt stunt and why it worked so well. Then, Fleccas Talks, Austin Fletcher and Philip Wegmann join the Panel of Deplorables to discuss how and why Democrats sold dreamers down the Rio Grande, the looming government shutdown, and why PC fanatics think white supremacy is okay. Last but not least, the mailbag. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. I'm wearing a black tuxedo today because time is up. I'm so brave. I am so courageous, aren't I? But time really is up for the left-wing hacks in the mainstream media. And I don't mean it's up in that they'll go away or they'll stop being left-wing hacks or even that they'll stop influencing a lot of people. But the time when places like the TV networks, the New York Times, Washington Post, etc., when they could pretend to be objective journalists, hard-hitting reporters, just interested in the facts, that actually is over. And you have Donald Trump to thank for that. After weeks of waiting, last night, President Trump finally presented the highly anticipated fake news awards. For months now, political analysts have wondered what the awards will look like. Will it be televised? Will there be a red carpet? Will people wear black tuxedos and little lapel pins and things like that? Trump first announced the awards in November, but no one was sure if he was kidding or not, or if this was a real event. He then announced on January 2nd that the awards would be presented on January 8th. Then on January 7th, he announced that the awards would be January 17th. And then last night, he tweeted the link to a blog post on the GOP website listing 11 news stories that he's already criticized for being fake. Oh, and also the website crashed. So it didn't even load for several minutes. The conclusion of months of persistent trolling, which really was part of years of trolling the news media, going all the way back to the campaign, was itself just a troll. I love it so, so much. That's it. That's all it is. It's just a blog post. It is a barely functional blog post, not a speech, not even a tweeted list, just a blog post at the GOP website. And you know what happened? The mainstream media took the bait. Of course they did. Now, we should be clear, this is a non-event. Seriously, this is not, it didn't even load. There was no fake news awards. There was a blog post. The mainstream media could have simply ignored this, but they couldn't, could they? No, they couldn't, because they're empty-headed kittens, and this is their catnip. Who covered it? Everybody covered it. Chrissy Teigen, whom I'd never heard of until last night, hosted a fake news awards from her Snapchat last night. Newsweek ran the headline, quote, "Forget Trump's fake news awards. Former Obama ethics chief announces president's biggest lie of 2017. The article reads, "A former Obama administration ethics czar is planning to beat Donald Trump at his own game Wednesday, trolling him with the Golden Pinocchio Award for his biggest lie of the year. On the night, the president is expected to announce his most dishonest and corrupt media awards." Cool, bro. Really cool. You really got him. You got him. Wow. If President Trump had any idea that former Obama ethics czar Norm Eisen would tweet something, then he never would have criticized the mainstream media. Really, good job. Wow. You got him. The Washington Post fumed, quote, "Trump's fake news awards were a huge flop." But guys, here's the thing. Here's the little secret. The fact that you're writing about the fake news awards, the fact that we're talking about the fake news awards, the fact that there are 1,900,000 Google results for the term fake news awards, that means that the fake news awards did exactly what they were supposed to do. How do people, I actually don't understand how people do not get this, how they still don't understand. As for the awards themselves, CNN won the night, taking home 4 out of the 11 accolades. You're shocked, I know. For those who still haven't seen the blog post or weren't able to load it last night, here they are quickly. These are the 11 hits. Former Enron advisor Paul Krugman predicted in the New York Times that markets would never recover from a Trump victory. The Dow Jones, you'll observe, just hit yet another record high. ABC News published an entirely fabricated story on Trump-Russia collusion, sending the stock market tumbling. CNN got another story about Trump and Russia entirely wrong. Time magazine published a totally fabricated story about President Trump removing the bust of Martin Luther King from the Oval Office. WAPO lied about Trump's crowd sizes at a rally in Florida. CNN lied about Trump overfeeding Japanese pet fish. CNN lied about a meeting between Anthony Scaramucci and Russians. Newsweek lied about the Polish First Lady not shaking President Trump's hand. CNN falsely reported that James Comey disputed Trump's claim that he was not under investigation. The New York Times published a false story on Trump and global warming. Then number 11, of course, the Russia collusion nothing burger, to quote Van Jones. There is one last aspect of this that I'd like to point out because nobody's really been covering it. The mainstream media aren't the only objects of mockery from this stunt. The fake news awards, it mocks the fake news media, but it also mocks award shows, precisely as we enter awards season. Formerly glamorous celebrities wearing gazillion-dollar gowns receiving gold trophies, just as the fake news awards highlight the irrelevance of the mainstream news media, their total fall from respectability. It does the same for Hollywood, which has virtually, and literally I'll point out, burned to the ground in recent months. The fake news awards worked because both Hollywood and the news media have become ridiculous. And Hollywood and the news media have become ridiculous for the same reason. They're really the same thing. Hollywood is a bunch of people going on television and pretending to be somebody they're not. And the news media are now a bunch of people going on television pretending to be something they're not. It's a bunch of Democrat communications advisors, Democrat propagandists, pretending to be journalists on television. That's all they are. They are nothing more than that. They've traded, both of those, Hollywood and mainstream press, have traded their original missions, which is to entertain on the one hand and to doggedly pursue the truth on the other, for shallow left-wing hackery. Award shows, they are no longer glamorous. They're tedious exercises in virtue signaling from millionaires complaining that they deserve even more millions of dollars to pretend for a living. The mainstream media are no longer respected precisely because formerly journalistic institutions have become nothing more than petty propaganda centers. If the press and celebrity reactions to last night are any indication, yesterday's fake news awards will be the first of many because they still refuse to see why everyone is laughing at them. All right, let's bring on our panel. So we've got a great panel with us today. We have Fleccas Talks, Austin Fletcher from Fleccas Talks. You've seen his YouTube channel. And Philip Wegmann from the Washington Examiner. Philip, you look okay, but I got to tell you, Fleccas, wearing that jersey tank top, you look phenomenal, sir. We got to get right into the news. We don't have any more time to talk about fake news. We got to talk about real news. Democrats have sold the dreamers down the Rio Grande after an apparently productive meeting on immigration, open to the press. We all saw it. Dick Durbin alleged that Donald Trump called Haiti a not very nice place to live. So Durbin, in doing that, poisoned any possibility of DACA compromise. Why did he do it? I don't know. Philip, did Dick Durbin just realize that it's better for Democrats' electoral chances to keep calling Trump a racist? And if that means that younger illegal aliens need to be deported, so be it?
I think what Democrats are realizing right now is that a shutdown, at least in their mind, is going to play well with their base. And so they're hoping that going into 2018, shutdown is actually going to buoy their chances. We see this, yes, with DACA, where you have Dick Durbin making this kind of small jab that in the larger scheme of things really only throws things off track. So he does that to create a controversy, which slows down negotiations. But then also we see this with CHIP and the current, continuing resolution. Democrats have been asking
CHIP, by the way, just for
years.
people who don't know what it is, CHIP is the Children's Health Insurance Program.
That's right, that's right. And so they have been asking for months that this would be included. Republicans have put forward a bill that Democrats initially rejected. They've put the CHIP funding into the continuing resolution to keep the government funded as a compromise. And now Democrats are suddenly quiet and they're saying, well, we're not going to mess with this continuing resolution. We'd rather have a big shutdown fight. And this is just completely duplicitous.
Totally right. I agree with that analysis entirely. Fleccas, Austin, this seems to me final, irrefutable proof, as I've said for many years, that Democrats do not give a damn about illegal aliens at all. They just want to win elections. They only pretend to care about illegal aliens when it suits their electoral needs. Should the GOP finally talk bluntly about that, cut it out with all of the rhetoric about compassion and humanity and these poor people and dreamers and all the other things that we now know Democrats do not care about at all? Should we speak bluntly?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's about time that we did, because realistically, the Democrats have always been appealing to the left's, sense of morality. And bigger picture, I think the left, especially the uninformed left that I come in contact with at all these protests, they think they can solve global poverty with immigration. So they think, oh, the dreamers, oh, like they came here young, they're not familiar with the country they came from, they just want a better opportunity. And that's the narrative, that's the narrative, that's the narrative. And then when it actually comes time to make something happen, they self-sabotage and would rather shut down the government just to, have a better chance in 2018. So, I mean, I thought we didn't negotiate with terrorists, and now the Democrats seem to be, getting time with us in our negotiations, and it's not good.
And they do it. What's so offensive about it is there are so many awful costs of illegal immigration. Something like 40% of young women who cross the border and girls who cross the border illegally are raped. These people are forced to live in the shadows. They can't access a lot of services. Obviously, there's the flip side of that, which is illegal immigrant crime and gang membership, such as MS-13. And there are all these really awful, vicious aspects to it for both the illegal aliens and for the American citizens. And yet they couch it in this language of, oh, we're the ones who care about these people. We're the only moral ones. And then you find out when push comes to shove, they don't give a damn about these people. They're perfectly willing to let them be deported or let there be some stopgap measure for them, because for them what it's all about is getting votes. And specifically, if they can rely on 80% of votes, if amnesty goes through and these people tend to trend Democrat, then they'll do it for that. But if the illegal aliens were going to vote for Republicans, they would be the first people loading up the deportation trains. So it's really frustrating. And I hope that in this era of Donald Trump speaking bluntly and taking away a lot of that nonsense PC political talk, that we can speak honestly about this and say, look, Democrats, you're dirty, rotten cynics who are using these poor people as political cudgels and as little pawns, and we're not going to take it anymore. And as long as they sign the pledge, the Michael Knowles show Dreamer DACA compromise pledge, which is that they all get amnesty immediately as long as they agree to vote for Republicans for 25 consecutive elections, then that's fine. Then we can form a deal and these people get to stay. I hope the Senate takes up my suggestion. Moving on to the government shutdown itself, the White House today has signaled that it will sign a 1-month stopgap measure to fund the government until a longer military funding deal and budget deal is reached. Fleccas, this seems to me like the win-win reality of Trump. Either he's competent and gets good things done, or he's incompetent and the government governs less. Either way, that's cool with me. Should Republicans fear a shutdown in this case?
I will hope there isn't a shutdown, just because of that. We need to keep paying the military, and if the left is going to have this, quid pro quo type thing where, amnesty for all, we're shutting it down, that's not how this should go. And just to touch on the last point you made about the DACA people, the dreamers coming over and, the left wanting their votes, the people I come in contact with at the protests who are, a lot of the people are Latinos for Trump. A lot of these people came here legally because they respect the country and love the country so much. And that's why they tend to vote Republican. Mm-hmm. So adding to your last point, like the people who are coming here illegally, it makes perfect sense that, the Democrats want to help them as much as they can, because that's potential Democrat voters who aren't really, America first ever.
Well, that's their base, is criminals. But you're so right. Of course, we should have known that these people would trend to vote Democrat. They're criminals, and that's a key aspect of the left-wing coalition. Good point. Philip, is the White House breaking ranks with Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans who they themselves have signaled that they oppose the stopgap measure, or is there some strategy that I'm missing here?
So I'm not clear on the day-to-day strategy when it comes to conversations between McConnell, Ryan, and Trump. That's definitely in flux, and it's keeping Democrats on their toes. One thing that I would point out, though, is I don't think that Democrats should be so quick to make that foregone conclusion that somehow they're going to benefit because of a shutdown. Yes, Trump keeps changing his mind about DACA and immigration, but he has made some pretty significant overtures when it comes to flexibility. So I think that, if you're talking about that Latino voter or that dreamer, they're going to see that in this CR deal, Trump just is asking for a continuation of government funding, and they're asking to lock in a couple different government programs and then deal with DACA later. So if we shut down the government and then we're not able to get a DACA deal later on, I think a lot of core Democrat supporters, a lot of those young people who are looking for dreamer legislation to come through, they're going to be incredibly disappointed. And I think they're going to see through this stunt.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially if we keep hammering them in this way, if we keep using blunt language. And now that their chief communications wing has cracked, as we saw last night in the fake news awards, I think there's a real chance. In the old days, the fear was, even if we're right on the facts, we're going to be so blown out by the press that it doesn't really matter and we just have to play by their rules. I don't think that's true anymore. It's largely not true anymore. So let's cross our fingers. During 2016, a bunch of Trump supporters started using the OK symbol, and 4chan decided to troll people into thinking that the OK sign was a white supremacist symbol. So the son of New Jersey's Democrat governor, Phil Murphy, played this game. He did a little circle sign during his father's swearing in. And so the OK sign has many innocuous connotations. Obviously, there's nothing inherently racist about saying, hey, OK, everything's good. And there's also this childhood game whereby you make someone look at the little OK sign, and then if they look at it, you punch them, like they did on Malcolm in the Middle. You might remember this.
Jerk. You looked. Ow!
Yeah, so I used to do that as a kid. It's pretty fun. And so anyway, 4chan decided to make this a symbol of their support for Trump or something, and Media Matters immediately pounced on this. So now the New Jersey press are calling this kid racist. Fleccas is okay white supremacist. I'm not asking, by the way, if white supremacy is okay. That is a subtle distinction. Is the okay sign, we can't use that anymore?
It's news to me, but yeah, I mean, leave it to the left to ruin everything. They had the same thing with Pepe the Frog. Like, the Pepe the Frog was like a meme, a popular meme on 4chan and Reddit, and then someone made, I think, a Nazi version of it, and now everyone who's ever used the Pepe the Frog meme is a Nazi. And it's just leave it to the left to ruin everything. They've already ruined Hollywood. They've ruined every city that they run. I just saw a L'Oreal commercial that came out today for shampoo, and the woman in the commercial was wearing a hijab. I don't get it. So
You're kidding me. That can't be true.
It's true.
Wow.
It's true. It came today. I tweeted about it.
That is unbelievable. I have to go looking for that now. That is almost beyond parody. And that's the problem. We are now beyond parody, where even the OK symbol has become this Nazi thing or this white supremacist thing. Philip, admitted and avowed racists like Richard Spencer, they now use the symbol, but it seems to me like it's ironic. It seems to me 4chan is trolling PC culture, wherein even the most innocuous of symbols could be deemed offensive, and the PC culture totally took the bait. So can we use it or not? Are they going to take a picture of this screenshot of me doing the symbol, and now I became a Nazi? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I think that's generally how it works. But I mean, what are they going to come after next? Like the slug bug game? I just don't get it. They're ruining childhood. And the sad thing about this is that there's going to be some bad actor who eventually comes along and starts using this as a racist symbol for
like
real,
Richard.
and they're going to ruin it. Yeah, they're going to start ruining it just as much for the rest of us. So we're in trouble from the left and the right.
But they actually, the alt-right, in their being jerks about this, kind of underscore the same point for the mainstream media, which is that they don't get to tell me what totally innocuous widespread symbols mean. The mainstream media doesn't get to redefine the OK sign or what's the next, the thumbs up or something. And likewise, Richard Spencer doesn't get to do that. There are like 50 of these people in the entire world who are actually white nationalists who want to deport all the black people, and they don't get to define widespread symbols for me. I've got two words for those people, the mainstream media and the alt-right, and those words are not happy birthday. Okay, that's all the time we have. Panel, thank you for being here. Now it is time. We have to get to the mailbag. That is Philip Wegmann from the Washington Examiner and Fleccas Talks. Go check him out on YouTube. Before we get to the mailbag, I'm sorry, Marshall, he's cutting me off. It's like they're playing me off like at all the other awards shows. Time's up for me. So if you're on Facebook and YouTube, you have to go over to dailywire.com right now. If you're on dailywire.com, thank you. You help keep the lights on. You keep Covfefe in my cup. We really appreciate it. What do you get if you join the Daily Wire? Well, you get me. You get the Andrew Klavan Show. You get the Ben Shapiro Show. It's $10 a month or $100 a year. You get no ads on the website. You get to ask questions in the mailbag. You get to ask questions on the conversation. By the way, the next version of the conversation is going to be me, so get ready for that and ask your questions. But who cares? No one really cares about any of that stuff. What we really care about is this. This Leftist Tears tumbler, we now have a really wonderful vintage. You have got to get this. They're the Cory Booker Leftist Tears. And I didn't know, you never can quite tell when a vintage batch is going to come up, but it's 2018 and it's all thanks to Cory Booker. So make sure that you have the right vessel, because it would be such a shame if you collected all of Cory Booker's salty, delicious, and ridiculous tears and then they went bad. And they went bad and you couldn't drink them in 10 years or 15 years. That would be a real shame and a real waste. Make sure you store them properly in the Leftist Tears tumbler. You can keep it in a nice dry area and it will maintain the perfect salty ratio so you can gobble up all of Cory Booker's absurd performance the other day. Okay, go to dailywire.com. We'll be right back with the mailbag.